This guy just walks in. He sits on the chair at the end of the bed and just puts his hand in his head and just starts crying, right? And I'm
what?
Like, and I'm just there. I'm just like, mate, you need to tell me what's going on. And he just went very, very bad, very bad, very bad. And then, mate, as I'm speaking to him, the Taliban are ringing him, mate. His phone, like as I'm sat there speaking to him, his phone's ringing.
Now, Simon, going on from that controversy, in 2022, on Instagram, you posted a photo of yourself in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And the caption read this.
Unfortunately, there's not going to be any videos from this trip as I had a problem when I was there. I would love to make a video about what happened, but for the safety of the people I met, I think it's best to leave this one.
Now, I was speaking to you the other day, and you said you might be able to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, to be fair, it's something I've always wanted to talk about. And I did actually film in Afghanistan, and I've still got the footage on my hard drive. And I would love to make something about it. But again, you know, yeah, I'm a cheeky chappy and I go around, but I don't want to cause any problems for anybody. You know,
okay.
Whether it's like blagging stuff or, you know, my goal is not to get anybody in trouble. It's to have fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, no, I'd definitely go into it.
Right. So what was the plan? You were going to go to Afghanistan for...
I went to... Well, I'll show you a picture in a bit. It's crazy, right? So I had a meeting at the Afghan embassy in Dubai. The guy watched my videos. I've got pictures with him, like holding, like, "Welcome to Afghanistan" book with the flags and everything. Really fine. He stamped my passport. He gave me a visa for Afghanistan, right? But obviously it's Taliban. So, okay, so give some backstory. Obviously, Afghanistan was run by the Americans, wasn't it, and everything. But obviously Joe Biden come in, withdrew all the troops. There's now no embassies in Afghanistan. Like, Afghanistan is now a free-for-all,
right?
Basically.
Right.
So there's no embassy there. Once you hit their soil, it's every man for himself. Like, you there's no protection. There's nothing. It's like gone, right?
And you knew this before?
Yeah, I want to go back as well.
Why? Is that what made you want to go?
Yeah, because it's like, again, I'm just interested in these places. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's interesting. The people are amazing. Like, how many Afghani people I meet in the UK or anywhere, mate, they're great people. The food's great. They sound, there's no problem. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and that's not to go off topic here, but that's what you find in every country. Everybody, it's like the politics have ruined the country, but the people are great. It's not the people that are a problem. It's like the higher ups, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, Afghanistan. So the plan was, I got my visa. I was going to Afghanistan for like a week. I was flying into Kabul. I was going to go all over it. I was going to go to, like, is it Mosul and Erbil and like just like go around basically. I was like looking forward to it. It was like, obviously it was Taliban run. I'd spoke to a guy I sort of know who does travel stuff, and he knew sort of a member of the Taliban sort of thing. So he was like, oh, well, it wasn't Taliban, but he was like, he was close to them. He was in the know, right?
Right.
So, again, I won't mention any names, but like he was like, he will meet you at the airport when you get there, right? So I flew Dubai to Kabul, coming off the plane in Kabul, and I'm like, oh, start filming. I get my camera ready and stuff. So yeah, long story short, I start filming as I walk down the tunnel. I'm in Afghanistan, let's see how this is. Straight away, Taliban are on me. Who are you? Why are you? Blah, 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 blah.
What, and you knew they were Taliban straight away?
Yeah, you know, straight, the AK-47s over their shoulders.
What, in the airport?
Yeah, everywhere. Like, it's crazy.
See, because obviously, like, I'm quite ignorant to this because I only know what the news tells me. Yeah. So I'm pretty representative of, like, what the public would think of that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's, so excuse anything dumb I say, but like, they're just walking about with guns in the airport, but they're not, they're not the police, are they?
There's no real police there anymore, is there?
Is that what it is? Really?
It's run by the Taliban, yeah.
Are you're filming yourself on the camera? Do you see them coming, or did they just suddenly appear?
No, like, they're all around. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Just dotted around. But again, listen, I'm sat here today. Do you know what I mean? I've not had a problem with any of them. You know, they were sound enough. Do you know what I mean? They were like, we need to take your picture. They took my picture. They give me some sort of access card. They stamped it. They're like, have a great time in Afghanistan. So I'm like, cool. Right.
Was this just because you had your camera out, or just
because obviously they get zero tourists.
Yeah.
So then I get off the plane and it's like, oh yeah, what's going on here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, how can I word it? It's a bit like, okay, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, hey mate, oh yeah, here's a stamp. It's almost like, there's an air to it where you're like,
there's tension and
yeah, and you're like, what's going on here, sort of thing.
Are you nervous at this point, or are you still optimistic?
Again, nervous is a big one, but you're sort of thinking, what's going on here? I've got to have my wits about me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, but again, nice enough people. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying anything bad about them. Do you know what I mean? And this is the thing with my videos. I'll always give you my experience. I'm not saying that I'm a big lover of the Taliban. I'm not saying I don't like the Taliban or the Taliban, and I'm giving you my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's all gets sorted, and I'm like, okay, it's sketchy. You need to be careful. I'm filming walking out the airport. I come out, like a normal airport, you walk out the arrivals and the doors open and everybody's there with like flowers or a balloon or something, right? You walk out there's no one there. It's empty, right? So I'm like, where am I meeting this guy? So I'm just being normal as I would in any airport. I'm filming everything. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's dead in here. Blah, 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 blah. Walk out. There's the big I Love Afghanistan logo. Let me just pull this back for 2 seconds, right? When Joe Biden pulled all of the US out of Afghanistan, they left everything there. Everything, like tanks, armory, like you name it. They literally took the troops off the ground and left everything there. Where Trump said he wasn't going to leave a bolt there. He wasn't going to leave a single American screw there, right?
Right.
They left everything there. When I landed into Afghanistan, I look out the plane window. There's like 4 American like Apache choppers just there, like just military. Like I was like, what the hell? American tanks with like these people stood on it, all in American army, and then just like a Taliban flag flying from the American tank. The American embassy in Kabul has got a Taliban flag flying from it.
That'll make it look like they've beat them.
Mate,
like it
honestly,
looks like they've won a war.
I thought they were Americans. I was like, Americans? They were like, no, Taliban. But because they'd left all the gear there.
Wow. That goes to show how much money there is in war as well. Like, I know that's why it's so corrupt.
They'd left it all there, right? It was, I could see it out the window of the plane, right? Anyway, going back to the thing. So I walk out the airport. I'm like, then in the back, so that's what that picture is on Instagram. I Love Afghanistan, right, at the back. So I'm filming. So anyway, what I'm talking about with the people waiting with the cards, that's outside the airport. So you've actually got to walk out of the airport, across the car park, and almost to the main road, like on the entrance of the airport. That's where everybody was waiting to pick people up, right?
Okay.
So I'm walking in my camera, holding it up in front of me, walking, like, oh, hey, Afghanistan, oh, look at this over here, pointing everything out. And then I don't know who I'm meeting, right? I've never seen this guy in my life. Never seen him in my life. I don't know who he is. I don't know who I'm looking for. I've been given no description on what he's wearing, no picture of him, nothing, right? I'm literally going in blind.
You just know a name, is that it? Just a name?
Just a name.
Right, okay, yeah.
So I'm walking out of the airport, and I'm like, I'm filming, because again, I want it to be real. So like, I'm filming, looking for him, sort of thing. And then I turn the camera, I put it there. Hopefully he's going to point me out, and then I can get it on camera meeting this guy for the first time.
Yeah.
And then this guy, I look at him, and he's just white, and he's like, no, like, stop, like, fucking put the camera down. So I'm like, I panic. I'm like, and he's like this, and you just know that's the guy I'm meeting. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So then I'm like, so I turn the camera off quickly, and I'm like, oh, hi, you okay? And he's like, I'm like, is everything all right? He's like, get in the car. I'm like, I was like, what's going on? He's like, I'll tell you in a minute, just get in the car, right? And it's like in broken English as well. He's like, get in the car. So I'm like, is everything okay? And he's like, no, just get in the car. And then we drive to the hotel. We drive to this hotel, and he's like bombing it around Kabul in the flipping car.
Your heart must be going at this point.
Mate, at this point.
Now you're nervous.
Now I'm nervous, right? So I'm like, and I'm thinking, what have I done here? Like, what have I, like, because obviously, like, Afghanistan is, listen, you can go there, and I would go back, right? But like, it was like, there was a lot of thing about it at the start, because obviously the Taliban had just taken over. In fact, I was supposed to go a week earlier than I was, But because it was the first year anniversary of the Taliban, there was a massive explosion there and it killed about 80 people. So then the guy who I was speaking to was like, oh, maybe give it another week. He's like, maybe give it another week because like tensions are high at the minute. So then I rung him up a week later and I was like, what do you reckon? And he's like, yeah, now, you know, I reckon you'll be all right now. So that's when I went.
Right.
So anyway, don't know why I veered off onto that, but we're in the car. So I get in the car and I'm like, mate, is everything all right? Like, what's going on here? Like, is everything all right? Like, flipping egg.
Are you filming again now or not?
I think I did some of it.
Yeah.
Like, I did film some of it.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, I want to get this.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, he's just bombing it. He's like, I'll tell you in a bit. So we get to this hotel, obviously speaking in Afghani or whatever. I don't even know what the language is there. But yeah, he's speaking to the guy. He gets the key for the hotel. We walk up the stairs to the hotel. I'm like, mate, what is going on here? Like, just tell me. Like, at this point, I'm almost annoyed. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's laminated things like with a picture of a gun with like a red, you know, like a stop sign through it.
Yeah.
Saying like no guns in the hotel. Mate, it was mental, right? Anyway, we get to the hotel room. I chuck my bag on the bed. This guy just walks in. He sits on the chair at the end of the bed and just puts his hand in his head and just starts crying, right? I'm
What?
And I'm just there. I'm just like, mate, you need to tell me what's going on. And he just went very, very bad, very bad, very bad. And I went, what? And again, this is where I need to be careful. Like, someone went there to make videos and let's just say annoyed the Taliban of what they posted.
Oh.
And it was, listen, I would never have done anything like that.
Yeah.
Listen, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
They posted something that the Taliban weren't happy with, which raised the tensions in the country, especially about flipping. I've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it raised tensions about people making videos in the country because obviously they don't want to be painted in a bad light.
Yeah. Right.
So any person who was bringing people in, like my guy was bringing me in, was sort of at risk. Basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So that guy was also connected to her in some way, and the Taliban had rung him up and said, you need to come and see us in our head office. And he basically said, like, I kissed my wife and 2 kids goodbye this morning because I thought I was just going to go in there and they were going to kill me. And like, he was 30, his missus was 29, and he had 2 girls, 3 and 4. And I'm just like, and he was crying. And then I was speaking to him and I was just like, this is just horrendous. Like, and I went, well, what? I said, so like, is everything good? And he's like, I don't know. He said, I might not be alive tomorrow. Like, and I'm just like,
fuck.
I know.
Hell.
And then I said, so what's happening now? And then, mate, as I'm speaking to him, the Taliban are ringing him, mate. His phone, like, as I'm sat there speaking to him, his phone's ringing. And then he answers it, and they're like, then they're obviously like quizzing him, or different people ringing him. Mate, I don't even understand it to say, but they were ringing him going, oh, do you sort flights out from Dubai to Afghanistan? And he's like, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And they're like, you don't need to know who it is, just answer the questions and stuff like that. And he was just like, but he was crying, like, and he was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. And then I was going, so I said, so what happens with me being here? Like, I'm supposed to be here for a week and filming, and you're telling me all this.
Yeah.
And he's like, then what did he? Well, I know what he said, but I'm trying to. But then he was like, yeah, he basically said, he was just like, oh, tensions are high. Like, I didn't want to let you down. That's why I brought you. I was like, mate, why didn't you tell me? I'd have not come for a bit.
Because you're going to feel some responsibility there,
exactly.
aren't you?
Then I said, well, what's now? And he just said, well, he said the Taliban obviously followed me to the airport to pick you up. And he said, and then they've obviously followed us back to the hotel. I went, they followed us now? I said, they're outside. I went, they're outside. And he goes, yes, they were following us. I just went, at that point, I just went, mate, get me to that airport now. I just went, get me to the airport. I went on Skyscanner. I was like, tried to book a flight. I was like, I got in there quite early. I think it was like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
There was a flight out at 3 p.m. and I was just like, get me out of here. I was like, I was done. Like, I'd been there an hour.
Yeah.
The guy was like crying his eyes out. Like, I keep in touch with him now.
Right.
Like, he's all good.
He's all good. Fucking
and he was
hell.
a lovely bloke as well. But like, yeah, he literally, mate, it was mental.
And so you didn't know they were following you or anything at that point?
And he took me back to the airport. The mad thing was, he took me back to the airport. I checked in. And then when I got to immigration, the guy goes to me. He's like, "You only come this morning, sir. Why are you leaving so soon?" I went, "Oh, I've stuff to do." He goes, "Interesting." He said, "Maybe we need to have a real chat." I was like, "Oh." No. He was like, it was almost like he didn't want me to leave. So in the end, like, I had to say, like, I've got a family emergency and I'm really worried and I have to go, but like, I promise I'll come back. And stuff. And he was like, okay. And then he let me go and I got back on that flight. I was like, what?
How did it feel when you got back on the flight?
Oh, mate, as soon as that flight, mate, I was even checking the map for it to leave Afghanistan airspace. Like, oh, mate, it was horrendous. And like, to be honest, I've only told you half a story, but like, I've told you as much as I'm comfortable saying.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, like, that's half the story. Like, the full one's pretty brutal.
And
wow.
And do you want to go back?
Yeah, like, I think. Yeah, like, obviously, again, listen, you could go, like I said, you could go to Manchester and have a bad experience. You go to Manchester and have a good experience. You know what I mean? And like, you know, for the little time I was there, the guy on reception was lovely. You know what I mean? The guy at the hotel was lovely. And to be fair, the guy I speak to, obviously, tensions have now come down again. He was a lovely guy, and I'd love to meet him again, to be honest, and have a chat with him. So, I don't know, like, again, especially with traveling a lot, you do think, like, you know, like law of averages, isn't it? Do you get what I mean? You know, what's good has to come down, what's down has to go up. That's life.
You're bound to have a bad experience.
Exactly. So I do think to myself now, obviously I've been doing it so long, it's almost like, is your luck going to run out at some point?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to do that. And, you know, I don't know. I want to keep pushing the boundaries, but not in a unsafe way.
No, you're not a provocative guy. Like when you travel, you're there to document the good of the place, aren't you?
100%.
But the elephant in the room, if you ever did get kidnapped and held for ransom, you must be sitting there thinking, I brought this on myself, to be honest.
Well, I'll be paying the ransom, mate.
Fair play.